You see what kind of clown we got in office right now. He could care less about all of us. He's like, y'all live with it. Some of y'all gonna die, so what the fuck? We gotta keep the economy going. Fuck the economy. We can fix all that shit after this pandemic is over with. But you gotta vote. And like I say, remember Denver Smith. Remember Denver Smith. Denver had a daughter who never met her daddy. Can you imagine that shit? And then she finds out her daddy was shot by some redneck fucking cracker in Bloomington, Indiana. And what did they do? They made him the goddamn chief of fucking police. So, vote. 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 And motherfuck these goddamn police. Because half of them ain't nothing but a bunch of racist, little dick motherfuckers anyway. That's right. And then the other half of them are too scared to say any goddamn thing about what happened to them, if they do anything. So, we're at a critical time in this country. Y'all gotta vote. We need to vote these assholes out of office. And I don't give a fuck about, they're this or that. All of these Republican assholes need to be voted out of office because they're letting a sociopath run our goddamn country. Right. And you see what's happening right now. I didn't think I was going to even say this shit when I came up here, but I can't help it. Like I say, it's been 40 goddamn years, almost 40 years since Denver been murdered. And Denver was my boy. He's a football player at IU. He's going to play pro ball. And what they do, he's having a bad day, and he runs across a couple of rednecks, and they murdered his ass. So y'all remember Denver Smith. You'd think this sad-ass university would be talking about him. But they could care less about Denver Smith because they don't want nobody to know what a fucked up goddamn university that shit is over there. With their asbestos in the dorms, with their lead in there. I worked over there for 25 goddamn years.
In the mold.
I know how bad all they goddamn dirty little secrets. Half of y'all that was going to school down here were exposed to asbestos and lead. So you don't even expect those assholes to say anything about Denver Smith. But y'all remember my boy. He was my friend, Denver Smith. And that's all, well, maybe, that I gonna say. But you remember Denver Smith. He could have been your brother. He could have been your son. He could have been your goddamn cousin. And they shot him down like a dog. And then they had the nerve to say it was steroid rage. Because he was a big, strong black dude playing football. So I'm glad to see that we got enough people out here in Bloomington that care, that supported that brother out at that lake when them Klan were out there like trying to lynch his ass. It's a damn shame no brother out there didn't have no gun. He could have shot those bastards down.
Yeah.
So, if I don't say anything else, vote, vote, vote. Thank you.
We're from Black Lives Matter Bloomington, and we just had a few things to talk to y'all about today. Thank y'all for coming out, showing your support. This has been a revealing time for us, right? A revealing time. The underbelly that we've been talking about in Bloomington is coming to the surface. The chickens are coming home to roost. And so we just want to talk a little bit about some of that and our list of demands. And I would like to introduce Dr. Amrita Chakrabarty Myers.
Peace, brothers, sisters, cousins. How y'all doing today? I want to hear from you. How y'all doing today? me tell you, I sat today for a minute and I had to just sit and I had to pray and I had to meditate before I came out here to be with y'all. And I was sitting and I was thinking about both of my grandfathers. So I'm gonna share just a little bit about them with you. I don't normally share about my family, but I'm gonna tell you, there are different tactics and different strategies, right? Because the community isn't just one community, there are many communities. We aren't all the same. One of my granddaddies, he fought for freedom by picking up a gun. The other one, he believed in non-violent, non-confrontation. They both went to the grave with scars on their backs, but they went fighting for what they believed in, which was freedom and liberty and equality and justice. They were both beaten for what they believed. They both went to jail for what they believed. They believed that every person should be able to live in freedom. One picked up a gun, one marched and literally sat there while he was being flogged because he would not fight back because he believed in non-violent, non-confrontation. I honor both of those granddaddies because both of their blood runs through my veins. I love them both. But let me tell you something. One of the things they were fighting for was the fact that the laws that they were fighting against, the legal systems they were fighting against were not just. I was raised to obey the law. I was raised to abide by the law. But laws are one thing, justice is another. What we are here today to demand is justice, because we have been living in a country that has had a legal system for hundreds of years, but it has never had a justice system, ever. We are literally dying and drowning under millions of laws, but we have never once have we seen justice, ever. We are prosecuted, criminalized, murdered, jailed, incarcerated by the millions, but never have we seen justice in America. And that is what we are here today to ask for. So I don't know if y'all remember what we read to you yesterday or if you've seen it on the BLM B-Town website, but we are asking for justice. We have 5 very, very clear demands because we're not asking anymore for law, because law is not moral. It is not always ethical. It is not always righteous. Apartheid was legal. The Holocaust was legal. Slavery was legal. So no, Mayor Hamilton, President 45, whose name will not cross my lips, Sheriff Brad Swain, the Department of Natural Resources, we are not asking for the law, we are asking for justice. The attack on Mr. Booker must be immediately investigated as a hate crime. Immediately. The officers investigated, the officers involved in all 3 of the incidents that occurred, right? All those football players from IU and their friends who were out on Lake Monroe last week in those boats, we do not forget you, right? That started off this past week of incidences. All 3 of these incidents, right? D, we don't forget you either. All 3 of these incidents must be investigated and disciplined, and those officers have to be suspended right before their prejudice and negligence threatens the lives and safety of any more Black people in this community. Again, we're not here for law, we're here for justice. Monroe County, number 3, Monroe County, you need to commit to investigating your relationship with the Department of Natural Resources because they have repeatedly demonstrated a willingness to support anti-Black violence out on Lake Monroe. Number 4, the city and the county must commit to a freeze on all future law enforcement hires effective immediately. No more police. No more police. I told y'all yesterday how many law enforcement agencies have jurisdiction here where we stand? 8. No more police. We're looking for justice, not more law. And number 5, both the city and the county must commit to specific training to dismantle white supremacy in their policies and funding decisions, because they have a long and ugly history of damaging Black, Indigenous, and person of color communities in this space. Say it with me, no more law. No more law. What we are here to seek today is what? Justice. No more law, but justice. No more law, justice. No more law, justice. No more law. Justice. No more law. Justice. No more law. Justice. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Ashe.
Hello. I'd also like to thank everyone for joining or coming out today. I was nervous about coming out today because it's dangerous, right? It's dangerous to be out here, in part because there's a disease that is threatening many of our lives right now, and we all seem to be respecting that. But we're taking our lives into our own hands coming out today. But beyond that, we're taking our lives into our hands because we are facing the threat of retaliation by people who don't like what we're saying up here. Yesterday, someone was seriously injured just standing out on the street. So we're all taking our lives into our own hands by being here. And I think that's a big thing. I think that's an important thing, to look around at everyone else out here and see that they've all decided that rather than staying safely in their homes, they were willing, on some level, to risk their lives because this is important to them. Every single person out here has made that decision. That's big. But I don't want you to think that that's enough. I don't want you to think that this proves we've all come together here, and that's all it takes. We just all have to come together. And we all just hug each other, right? No matter what color, no matter what gender, no matter what religion or faith, if we just could all hug each other, it would all be okay, right? That's the story of diversity and inclusion that lots of cities like Bloomington that call themselves progressive want to sell you on, right? They want to say if we just all came together and all saw that we're just all human, that's all it takes. But that's not all it takes. It's a first step, but that's not all it takes. When we think that way, we're thinking in line with what other members of BLM have referred to as the Bloomington exceptionalism narrative. We think Bloomington is this liberal oasis in the middle of a conservative ocean. The blueberry, right? We've heard that. The blueberry in the tomato soup, which is a repellent image, to say the least. A blueberry in the tomato soup. And I think that's appropriate because it's a repellent thing to think, right? Because it's not accurate. Even with all our blueberryness in this tomato soup, right, we're still willing to put up with, we're willing to tolerate a huge amount of anti-Black violence. We're willing to tolerate this all over the place. Our liberalism, our notion of Bloomington exceptionalism says it's okay if there's a few white supremacists recruiting out of a city-run farmer's market. That's fine. We can deal with that because we're Bloomington. That's not us. That's just, those are some exceptions. Just fewer people think that way. And what happens? We let them in and they get a little stronger. And then what happens? We say, well, there were some football players who got harassed out on the lake. Well, it must have been their fault. They must have done something wrong, right? Because Bloomington isn't like that. Monroe County isn't like that, right? We wouldn't harass him just for being black. It must have been something else. And we see people being racially profiled. And we see that black children in schools are disciplined at several times the rate of their non-black classmates. And we say, well, that must just be a mistake. That's something we can fix pretty easily because we're Bloomington. We're progressive. We're exceptional. We're not like the rest of Indiana. We're not like Kentucky, right? We like to talk about Kentucky, right? We're not like all these other places. And we can always point at least we haven't had the sorts of things that happen in the rest of the country happen here. You see stories about, what is it now? Half a dozen at least black men who've been found lynched around the country, hanging from trees. And we can all think that's horrible, but at least it could never happen here. It could never happen here. Yes, some bad things happen, but nothing like that. And yet, on July 4th, that happened here. So as you're thinking about Bloomington, you're thinking, look at all the people who came out. Look at all the nice white folks who are here supporting this. I want you to realize that it's also nice white folks that let white supremacists into our
Microaggressions, which are macroaggressions, which all are just aggressions. Which is when you are maybe a manager and you are doing your job, when you're doing your job managing your employees, but your boss above you says you're being too aggressive with them. When you are told just because you speak with force about your own life that you are angry and aggressive. We are constantly bombarded with these microaggressions that are the death by 1,000 cuts that end up being how many of us have anxiety disorders? How many of us have high blood pressure? How many of us are probably going to die of heart attacks? The black community is riddled with health problems that is not necessarily endemic to who we are, but rather the conditions in which we live in.
Yeah.
So what we are asking you, what Black Lives Matter is asking you, to write your city council members, to write the mayor, to write the county council and the county commissioners who have total authority in the county, by the way. Many people don't know this, but county commissioners have both rule of law and the financial ability to control everything that happens in the county. We're asking you to write them and put pressure on them to engage in our policy training so that we can be responsible for schooling them on how to become anti-racist. So that we have the ability to fight for ourselves instead of them outsourcing it to somebody from New York City who doesn't know the conditions of our area. Instead of relying upon them to go read a book that they may not understand. We want them to come to us, to black people, to help interpret how to become an anti-racist. We have our own anti-racist reading resource on our website. I ask you to take a look at that. But this particular training is about creating policies and about changing the condition of life in Bloomington and Monroe County for black and brown people. And the media is here today, and I ask you also to hold city, county, the mayor, the county councilors, the county commissioners accountable and say, are you going to take this training? Thank you. Black Lives Matter.
Like I said, I just wanted to introduce you to our security team. They were with us last night, and they'll be here protecting us again. I want you to become familiar with what they look like so that you guys don't feel afraid in any instance.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bear. I am a member of, I would say, a group of citizens that just got fed up with things up in Indianapolis. We all came together because of the protests and being tear gassed and firsthand witnessing the brutality of the IMPD and state police up there. We are here for you guys, 100%. We're here to keep you guys safe. These are our people. We are here to keep traffic and everything out of the way and handle that. We are Citizens Protest Response and Safety. We're a newly found corporation. We're actually in the process of filing for our nonprofit tax exemption. So we will have legal services that we will provide for people. We'll have medics, EMTs. We're working with attorneys, trying to just give back to the community any way we can and provide services for better healthcare and social services for everybody. This is Richard. He's also on the chair for the board.
So just wanted to address yesterday at the end of the protest, as we started to kind of disperse. I'm sure a lot of you guys, if not all of you guys, have seen the video of the car that drove into the protesters over here on that street. Today we have made some changes within our security team to help prevent that today. And at the end of the night, if anyone feels unsafe walking back to their cars alone, come to any of us and we're more than willing to do that for you. If you need anything from us, let us know. I'm medically trained. A lot of these guys are medically trained. We can provide any way we need. Black Lives Matter.
All right, our friend Sam has written a little speech that he'd like to share with everyone here.
Thank you, and excuse me for a minute. I kind of need to gather myself. I wrote this for the protest for George Floyd and didn't get to speak it. It was so well organized, and the first thing I want to say is to the young people out here, you guys are fabulous. You guys are fantastic. You're our future, and keep it up, please, and especially the organizers of this event. Just a little impromptu to my gentleman who spoke so passionately about Denver Smith. We share the same age, 61, so we've seen a lot. And if I go back 40 years and say I'm here in Bloomington Square having to speak this, I'd go, no way, that'll be solved by then. Well, obviously I didn't do my part. So this is what I wrote for George Floyd. Also, Vaughx Booker, now I have to add some things that should clearly never happen. This is unbelievable. I'm beside myself. Let it be crystal clear. George Floyd and Breonna Taylor need and must be the last two names of murdered black U.S. citizens at the hands of a militarized police state which has infected this nation in some shape or form for 400 years. And what happened to Vaughx Booker and some of our IU football players, I'm a huge football fan, should never happen again. This infestation of a militarized police force, of oppression, discrimination, slavery, and it's worse to this very year, 2020, lynchings have been a part of this nation. This pandemic has been ever present for these 400 years. The saddest part is that the cure does not require years of research, testing, trials, and manufacturing of an organic vaccine. The cure is present before us each and every day. The cure is simply a manner of thought on behalf of perpetrators. That manner of thought begins with empathy. Whether you are white or black, have been a direct victim of racism or not, mindfully put yourself in that position. How would you react? I stand before you, an obvious white man who cannot know firsthand of the mistreatment because of the color of my skin. So what can white America do in 2020 to ensure life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and all rights accorded to all citizens are available to everyone as stated in the Constitution? Here is my plea to white America. Most, I hope, are aware of, quote, the speech that black parents must give to their sons and daughters as they begin their journey into U.S. society. Everyone here knows it, so in response, this is the speech white America needs to present to all their children. Please, my children, I beg you, do not judge a person by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Throughout the history of the United States, my children, people have been murdered by the thousands only because they are not white. This is a fact that is true today in the year 2020, and almost again on our most patriotic holiday, right here in Bloomington, Indiana, which we find out is what it's always been. Hopefully, this year of 2020 will become symbolic to its optometry reference of crystal clear vision, a vision where all Americans see and experience safety in their streets, neighborhoods, towns, and cities, in rural areas, parks, stores, malls, and in their cars, in their jobs, places of worship, schools, and even their homes. And finally, in the presence of those who are supposed to protect and serve all of our society. So until this 2020 vision is enjoyed by everyone of all races, creeds, ethnic origin, sexual orientation, genders, and no matter how long it takes, continue to protest, be vocal, be seen, walk proud, be loud, be safe, and in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King and all who have died violently in the struggle, be peaceful and ensure this happens. Vote to stop racism now!
All right, thank you, Sam. Next, I'm going to invite somebody you guys probably know. He's my little brother, big activist as well. Here's Caleb Poor.
Hey, y'all, can y'all hear me all right? Yeah. All right. All right, I just want everybody to start off. On a count of three, I want us all to just take a deep breath. Does that sound all right? 1, 2, 3. And breathe out. If you were here yesterday, you know that that unfortunate ending was really tragic and traumatizing for a lot of people. That's why I salute everybody that was there, everybody that helped to try to find the car and to help medically with that girl. I want to just have a round of applause for them right now because that's what this is about. You know, this is about us coming together. You know, a month ago when we had the protest here, I brought this sign, and the sign says, "The world is watching, and what will they see?" Well, I brought that sign back yesterday, and what did the world see? Well, I'll tell you what I saw first. I saw the brave people of this state and this community come together. I saw solidarity. I saw peace. And most of all, I saw change. Change being vocalized. But unfortunately, a violent couple of racists stole the narrative from right under our feet. I've been looking at the press from our event, and clearly that attack by that couple deserved coverage, as there have been 12 protesters killed since this movement has reignited. But what did they miss? They dismissed our demands. They neglected to mention our message to our elected officials. So what did we gather for? I talked to multiple people, multiple media. I told them we gathered to end the war on drugs and to release our nonviolent drug offenders. I told them we gathered because this community is over-policed. How many police do we have in this town? 8. Way too many. We gathered because we want oversight of the police by our community. We gathered because we want independent investigations on police misconduct. We gathered because we want body cams on police from the moment they clock in to the second they clock out under penalty of law if that rule is broken. How many weren't filmed? How many weren't filmed? We gathered here to demand that our tax dollars not be spent on a war machine like a Bearcat. That's not going away anytime soon, because over the past few years, all we've been seeing is this economic distress happening throughout our community, throughout our entire state. When we say defund the police, what we're talking about is maybe we should take some of those resources and give it to the people that can really be uplifted. We gathered to demand the prosecution of Vauxx's attackers. Over the course of a few days, we've now had 2 violent racist attacks in Bloomington, Indiana. Maybe that used to surprise some people, but I think people are starting to open their eyes. Another thing we gathered for is that we proved that when you stop being a bystander and step up to be a hero, lives can be saved. And so my message really to the media is, y'all need to stop highlighting the right-wing violence featuring our trauma and start listening to the streets, start listening to the people, and start making our policies mainstream. And we want that yesterday. We want that yesterday. We're tired of seeing clips of people getting killed. We want to talk about the change we want to make. You know, I look around and sometimes I see some of our elected officials that are here and supporting us, and I know some of them are fighting alongside of our side, but hey, I'm sitting there looking. You have the power. Where are the bills at? What are you not doing your job for? Erica Oliphant, do your job. Mayor Hamilton, if you ever want justice in this community, you need to sell the damn Bearcat and you need to reinvest that money into our community. Are there people that are struggling? The fact alone that we have portions of our elementary school system where kids are failing way more and nothing has been done about that in the past 10 years, that raises an eyebrow to me. It seems like it's people in positions of power that aren't willing to make the change. But that's what we're here today for. And we're going to keep on coming back, because if they thought that little accident they did over there is going to stop us, they got another thing coming, I'll tell you that. They got another thing coming. Put a fist up. Put a fist up. Because we're not stopping. Black lives? Black lives? Black lives? Black lives? Thank you so much.
Like I said, I've been out here earlier talking. Y'all remember Denver Smith? Denver's my boy. Like I said, this shit didn't start just the other day. It started a long time ago. I lived here 40 damn years. And everything that young brother said, if you don't get your asses out and vote, ain't nothing gonna change. And if I don't say anything else, I'm gonna say something for my boy, Denver Smith. Denver Smith. Denver Smith that was shot down like a goddamn dog. Y'all remember that brother. He was the first one down here. Vaughxx wasn't the first one. And I ain't one of those turn the other cheek brothers. Like I say, I'm a Malcolm goddamn brother. And if the vote don't work, then hey, and we don't want to go there. So y'all get your asses off, get off your ass, and vote. And vote. And vote. Because if you don't vote, Black lives don't mean a goddamn thing. Y'all here to get off your asses and vote. John Hamilton don't want to do nothing. Vote his punk ass out of office. Matter of fact, y'all need to vote all them motherfuckers out of office. We shouldn't have to be sitting up here talking about this bullshit. They don't want to act right. You got Fairview School less than 3 blocks from here. Are they trying to get them kids educated? No, they don't give a fuck. They ain't nothing but white trash and niggas over there. And that's how they think. If y'all want some of this shit to change, you gotta vote. And that's all I gotta say. And remember Denver Smith. Remember Denver Smith. Remember Denver Smith. Remember Denver Smith. God damn it, I've been mad about Denver for 40 fucking years. Remember Denver goddamn Smith. Thank you. And I'm sorry for cussing around all these little kids, but they need to know what goddamn time it is. This ain't no goddamn joke. Because it could be me next, it could be you next, it could be your kids. Remember Denver Smith. George Floyd wasn't the first one. Remember Denver Smith. And vote. Why you think these fuckers are trying to like suppress votes? Vote. Vote in every goddamn election you can vote. And motherfucker goddamn pandemic. If we gotta go out there and put our mask on and vote, then you better have your ass out there, because I'm gonna be out there.
We stated previously, we want to make sure that people know that this isn't about one individual organization. I am one of the organizing members of Enough is Enough, and I'm about to have 2 of our other organizing members step up to the mic. But we just want to make sure that people understand this is about bringing the community of Bloomington together for Black lives. Now I'm going to introduce you guys to my other organizing members, Selena and Selena.
Hi everyone, I am Selena Tesfaye-Gorgas and this is Selena Drake. We are some of the core organizers of Enough is Enough. I'm going to keep this short on my end. I'm not the best at public speaking, but I'm angry, so I'm here. We are Enough is Enough, and our first mission in the June 5th protest was on police brutality and demanding change from the police forces within IU and within the Bloomington community. And now within this month, we have to shift our gears to another racist institution, which is the DNR, the Department of Natural Resources. We reached our goal by getting in contact with the prosecutor. Close to 200,000 people have gotten in contact. Keep going. Now that we have the prosecutor in our hands, though, we need to continue. It's time to get to the DNR, who have presented multiple counts of racism, not just the 2 that we heard about recently. Multiple counts of racism towards the multiple people of color, and the only incidents we know are the that have been publicized, but we need to get at them. That's our next goal. Before I end, I want to remind everyone, being black lives are not merely political. It is a human rights issue. We are human beings. It is a human rights issue because it is built on a system that endangers the lives of black people around the world. Okay, it's a human rights issue. And use this momentum. Right now we are all here, we are all angry. I want us to use this momentum. Make sure no one invalidates any of your emotions, your feelings, because it is important and it is necessary. Our voices need to be heard continuously. And remember allies, remember how to be an ally. In spaces in which black people are not present, please speak. Whether that be a Thanksgiving, like someone said yesterday, whether that be in a classroom full of all white students, be the voice for us, speak on with us. And then remember not to speak for black people, but with and beside. Thank you, that's what I have to say.
All right, this next part, can I ask everybody, if you can stand up, can you stand up? If not, you can participate anyway. So just repeat after me. It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love each other and support each other.
We must love each other and support each other.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
That was cute, but it wasn't enough. And I thought enough is enough, right? All right, so I'm gonna need y'all to scream this from the top of y'all lungs. Jump, put your hands in the air, say it with your chest. Y'all ready? It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love each other and support each other.
We must love each other and support each other.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love each other and support each other.
We must love each other and support each other.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
It is our freedom to fight for our, you get it. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love each other and support each other.
We must love each other and support each other.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
Thank you so much.
Sanitizing the mic. Yes! You know that protests are not an end unto themselves, right? You know what that means, right? You know that they are a stepping stone. They are not an end unto themselves. We come together not to have a feel-good party moment and then go home, have some cocktails, post these pictures on social media and be like, oh, I just feel so good because I went to a protest. Thank you. I know y'all been locked up for several months because of COVID, but this does not substitute for going out to the restaurant or your frat party. Can I just be clear? Because for some of us, we don't get to go home and put this shit away because this is a lifelong endeavor. Do you understand me? So I'm gonna need for you to think real long and real hard about why you're here. And you're gonna have to start to really inscribe these things into your heart and into your soul and into your consciousness. Because like Jada B told you before, anti-racism is not a destination, it's a lifelong journey. This is not a moment, it is a movement, and it is a movement that you are going to have to be willing to walk on for the rest of your life. Some of us have already been doing this for a minute. Some of you have just joined along, and that's okay. But I'm going to need for you to be willing to keep walking. You're going to get tired. You're going to want to sit down. You're going to want to lay down. You're going to want to give it up. And I'm going to need for you to get back up. And that's how come we come together, to encourage one another and lift one another up. Okay, we are not in this alone. None of us is in this alone. We're going to open the mic up at this point, like we did yesterday, for those who have something that they feel burdened to share. Open mic time. I will wipe it off again. Okay? I will wipe it off again. But, so if you feel led to share from your heart, come on up, because that's what this is about. We are a community. We have stories to share. We are here to testify and to witness. I'm Amrita Myers, member of BLM B-Town, Core Council, also a proud professor at IU. Although, listen, that is not a perfect institution, right? Because none of our structures are perfect, because they are all built on the foundation of white supremacy. Every single last one, from finance to government to education to policing. And I am a historian, and I got a long ass memory, because I'm a historian of slavery and black women. But I am proud to do what I do, because I'm a black women's historian, and I love what I do every single day, because I teach our history to our youth. And then they go out and they take it to the world.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do anything else, not for love of money. So come on up if you got something to say. All right.
Right here.
I'm going to let this gentleman introduce himself, but a lot of you probably already know who he is. If I could get this to raise up. Oh, and yes, the line, if you do want to speak, will be over on this side of the stage.
What's up, Bloomington? My name is Eddie Melson. I'm state senator for District 3. When I woke up this morning in Gary in my bed, I said, I'd be damned if I don't make it down to Bloomington. Every single day we walk into the State House, I think about my forefathers. I think about the brutality that everyone in my culture endured during slavery. And as a person that has the responsibility that was mentioned earlier, to speak up when you have a platform, we have a responsibility. I would say this. Silence can be a sign of being a signer on of what's taking place. The silence on an issue can say that you agree or that you are afraid to speak up. And whatever violence is perpetrated or whatever negativity is perpetrated will continue to happen. Every single person that's here, especially our white allies, have a responsibility to call out racism in its face and make sure that it never happens again. The Indiana Black Legislative Caucus, we issue some demands to this government in the state of Indiana. Banning the chokehold, no knock, no warrants. Racial profiling has to come to an end. All of these things we put on the desk of the governor, and we have not heard back from him yet. Think about that. So when the time comes to vote, when the time comes to speak out on issues, be responsible. I refuse to let my children that I left to come here today live through this all over again. I have a responsibility. So no matter how far it is, what did Dr. King say? Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. This is not an event of division. This is an event of inclusion. But it's an event with demands. So I commend the organizers having the demands they're put forth to local government, county government, but don't forget about our state government. When we go back into session in 2021, make sure these issues don't fade to the background. Because everyone here has a responsibility. I want to thank my colleagues, Senator-elect Shelley Yoder, Senator Mark Stoops, and Senator J.D. Ford for being here today. I don't have to know you to say that I love you. It's my God-given right and my ability to say that I love you. So let's protect each other and let's fight for justice. Thank you.
I am Jennifer Crossley. And yesterday, y'all probably heard me talk about, before I am any kind of party affiliation, I am a black woman, so I have respect and dignity to say that I come before any of that, period. I'm not gonna keep y'all long because Senator Eddie Melton called me today, and he drove down from Gary, and that's like a nice 3-hour drive. So he definitely he's one of the elected officials that is truly down for the cause and not just talking about it, but being about it as well. And that's what we need to see more of. So again, I'm just coming to y'all to explain, and I don't really have to explain to y'all because y'all see, I hope I don't have to keep explaining it. I hope we don't have to keep coming out here seeing this. I hope we don't have to keep seeing the injustices that we keep seeing. I hope we don't have to keep talking about the Nazis at the dang on farmers market. I hope we don't have to keep calling and begging and pleading for Black Lives Matter, because yes, they do indeed matter, and we should know that. But apparently, like Jay-Z said, allow us to reintroduce ourselves. We matter, period. So as much as everybody has said, vote, and my sister Amrita said this about a month ago, voting is bare minimum. We need to now push back and make sure that the policies that we put into play, that we want to have put into place, they stick. We need to keep pressing our elected officials. We wish we had more elected officials today, and I have no idea where they are, why they're not here, but that shows more of them. But it says something about us, and all I have to say is keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep fighting. Because you know what? As a Black woman, I kind of have to keep doing this. But my allies out here, y'all gotta have the racial stamina. You can't get tired. You gotta keep moving. You gotta keep, you crawl. It's hot outside right now, we all sweating. But you gotta hydrate yourself and get back up. And if you fall down for just a little bit and you make mistakes, but you gotta keep in this fight, because we truly need all of us to make it. So as the old dude from Verizon said, can you hear us now? Can y'all hear us now? Because it's not enough to keep calling to do your job for you. Don't ask us how we feel, because you might not want to know how we feel in this moment. I'm just saying. You might get some answers, and maybe you should ask, because some of us are not all right. Some of us are not okay. I sat home after I was here last night and saw what happened, because I needed to go back home with my kids, and I sat here and cried. And we all sat in our house and just shed tears. And for a second, that was the second time in my life that I've seen my husband get fearful for what it is that I have to do. So if I'm gonna keep doing this, and I know maybe the ultimate sacrifice might be death, but hey, if I do it and I die, at least I know I died trying. And as my sis Jada B said earlier, make sure that all Black lives matter, Black kids matter, Black trans lives matter, Black women matter. Justice for Breonna Taylor. Yeah, say her name. I can't hear y'all. Say her name. I just saw on Twitter earlier today that people were tweeting some of Breonna's tweets that she did last year. And one of the tweets that she said was, 2020 is gonna be my year, bet. And little did she know, but now we gotta continue to make it her year. Even though we're here locally in Bloomington, we can still call, I believe his name is Daniel Cameron, that's the AG that is apparently posting pictures of his engagement, but aren't arresting the killers and charging Breonna Taylor's murderers, period. And again, I said I wasn't gonna keep y'all long, but listen to Black women, love Black women, respect Black women. Not only is it good enough for just keep having a seat at the table, because sometimes we can have a seat at the table or we can be in the same room, but they still try to silence us. That's what I have endured in being in my position. So I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna kick the damn table down. I'm gonna karate chop it, do whatever I gotta do, because now I gotta make my own table for my 3 babies and for everything else that I'm working so hard for. Black lives matter, all Black lives matter, and I'm out. Your help. I need you to put that pressure on our local government. I need you to hold them accountable. Shelly, I need you to do that work too. Woo! JD, I need you to do that work too. Woo! I need you to get them to agree to anti-racist policy training. Because it is clear that our county council, our city council, the mayor's office, our county commissioners do not understand what are anti-racist policies. They don't get it. They say they get it. Mayor Hamilton will be here and he'll talk all his talk. He'll call us the blueberry in a tomato soup. That was his line, by the way. He will talk about the farmer's market being the crowning jewel in Bloomington. But he will not get that his policies, his procedures, his goddamn police force is not anti-racist. And we need them to get in line with anti-racist policies. Please hold them accountable. Please hold them accountable. And make them understand that had they listened to Black people the first time, we might all not be here now yelling about this. Okay? That had he listened, don't buy that damn Bearcat. Give that money to what needs to be given to. We wouldn't all be here saying, defund the police. You know, if he listened to us, and we need him to listen to us, please help us. Thank you.
They found a suicide note on his bed that was later determined to be not written in his handwriting, and the case was never prosecuted.
Say his name.
Say his name.
Joseph Smedley.
Say his name.
Joseph Smedley.
Black pain is not just for media coverage. Our pain is not just for your Snapchat videos. Our pain is not just so you can write on your poster and come out and feel good for a day. We are hurting. We are dying, and we have been for 400 years. Say his name. That name should spark the same pain in your heart as the name Lauren Spear.
More.
More. More for the unnamed black victims all around this country whose deaths weren't recorded, whose deaths weren't reported, who were found hanging in trees. Say his name.
Joseph Smith.
Say his name.
Joseph Smith.
Say his name.
Joseph Smith.
Black Lives Matter.
I don't have hand strength for that. So I would like to say to all my white folk out there who have racist families, who are against you coming out here, I thank you for coming to be an ally like myself. I don't know the struggles of people of a different skin color than I am. I am probably one of the whitest people I know. And so I have no idea what each and every one of you guys go through on a daily basis. But please, like it was said earlier, if you're at Thanksgiving, if you're at Christmas, a birthday party, a Sunday get together, a family reunion, please stand up and say something. I beg of you. Because we have to say something to make change. It starts with our families. We have to start there to change people's minds, to get people's brains going. Because those people then get elected into office. So also do your research on people before you just vote blindedly. Do your research, please. Thank you.
Absolutely unacceptable. We all know it was not an accident. We saw video of what happened. Some of us witnessed what happened. We know that was not an accident. As a student journalist, I am enraged. Journalists, especially journalists like myself that come from a place of white privilege, it is our responsibility to be allies and tell the truth. White silence is violence, and white minimization and gaslighting is violence. Do better.
Somebody help him with that mic. He is too small to be bending over.
Sorry, everybody. My name's Crow, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Crow.
I would just like to say that, expanding on on what Bree said a second ago, to my white friends out there that come from racist families, do speak up. I grew up in one. I heard the N-word more times at the dinner table than I heard outside in public. And every day I go home to Thanksgiving or the 4th of July or Christmas or anything like that, I try my best to call out my family. Because I can't stand the fact that people still think like this in 2020. I stand with my black brothers, I stand with my black sisters, I stand with black Muslims, Christians, everybody who's hurting right now. I stand at your back and I will help you out as much as I can. And another thing too, when George Floyd first happened, social media blew up with Black Lives Matter and blew up with all these different posts from different people. And it's been about a month and a half later, and it's like nobody else is talking about it. Black Lives Matter is not a trend, never was a trend, and never will be a trend. And I'm sick of people treating it like it is.
Make it an institution.
I don't know what that means, but But anyway, another thing too. I was scrolling around on TikTok yesterday. I know, weird as hell, but anyway. I was scrolling around on TikTok yesterday, and like I said, for that first month and a half, everybody that had something to say about Black Lives Matter went out and did that. Now they are shadow banning people, taking down the audio from people's videos, taking down people's videos entirely, because white supremacists are reporting them, and now they're trying to say that Black Lives Matter is against community guidelines on TikTok. We will not be fucking silenced, and I refuse to be silenced myself, and all of y'all should be too. All of y'all should refuse to be silenced and keep speaking loud as hell. Scream that shit from the top of your lungs. No justice. No peace.
No justice! No justice!
I just want to make an announcement, I guess. There are some people here that are saying things that are not on message, or they may have trying to have conversations with these people. All they want to do is disrupt and cause enmity and things like that. So let's just be here for this. This is why we're here. Black Lives Matter.
Whatsoever. And that's just driving an automobile. When I speak to black people, how many of us drive with our wallets in our pockets? How many of us drive with our cell phones on our laps? How many people, as soon as they get pulled over, automatically wind down their windows and turn on their interior lights, making sure they keep both hands on the wheel? We do all this stuff because it's psychologically imprinted in our brains, and that's something a lot of people don't think about. On the baseline of racism, we're scared to get pulled over just for maybe even not coming to a complete stop at a stop sign. So when I'm up here and I'm speaking to you guys, understand that I'm not just here to have the camera in my face. I'm not just here to be in this moment. This is stuff that all of us deal with on a daily basis. I'm just trying to make sure that everyone's voices that talk to me is heard on a louder stage. Now, you guys aren't scared to march today, are you? No! All right, well, we're getting ready to march, so I'm just gonna leave you guys with this, and I say it every time. Bree touched upon it earlier. In order to end this, we need to make sure that this isn't a moment, this is a movement. We need to make sure that when you leave here today and you go home and see your families, you see your friends, and you see your coworkers, that you're willing to have those conversations. It's not about being out here holding a Black Lives Matter sign, but as soon as black people are gone, your voice is silent. And what I always finish with, sorry about my French, but if we keep this going, then racists have fucked with the last generation. We're gonna do a similar route as yesterday, so as we gather, we're gonna start our march walking down Kirkwood, and then we'll head to Dunn and take a ride on Dunn Street.